Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the newest episode of the Good, the Bad, and the Obscure podcast. And on today's episode, I want to talk about a sequel that I overlooked for 19 years. And what is that sequel? Well, it's The Sandlot 2.
It was a summer of fun.
I got it!
A summer of memories.
Oh, no!
We gotta get that ball back.
That became a beloved family classic.
So you're the ones that making all that racket.
This spring, welcome back to The Sandlot.
Play ball!
It's been 10 years since there was a real good bunch of players on the Sandlot, and I miss them.
Discover new adventures.
You're not allowed to be here.
You guys bring your sisters to watch some real ball players?
This is our Sandlot.
I'll bet I can strike him out with 3 pitches.
Now you're talking, yeah! Yeah, right!
She smoked you, meathead.
Relive the magic.
That's something.
The Sandlot 2.
Your bald-headed grand. Your mama wears combat boots. Your mama dresses you funny. Yeah, but you play ball like a girl!
Excuse me?
Coming to DVD spring 2005. Don't forget the original movie, The Sandlot, available on DVD.
Now, Sandlot 2 came out in 2005, and at the time, I was just not into it. I just figured it was about 12, 13 years out from the original. No way it could be anywhere near as good as the original. And I looked into it, and I figured out that the original writer and director of The Sandlot also did the sequel, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times, if they bring on the original director, it can be a good thing. And in this case, I don't know. Well, we'll see at the end of this how I feel about it. Now, I will get into the stuff I really liked about it first, and then we'll get into the stuff I didn't like so much about it. Now, to start off, I did really like the cast of kids that were in this. They were all really good. They played their roles great, and they weren't obnoxious, like what can happen a lot of times when kids, especially a group of kids, are in a movie. Sometimes it can be a little too overbearing on some of their personalities, but they weren't really annoying. They're actually really good, and I was really surprised. Especially since that sometimes with like lower budget films, especially direct-to-video films, they tend to cheap out and not get the best actors, if you ask me. But with this, they did a great job. And one of the kids is the same kid who played in Bad Santa as the curly-haired kid. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's really cool to see him in here because he fits pretty good. Now, one thing I will say is this movie reminds me a lot of a mixture of The Sandlot and Little Giants in a lot of ways, but overall, it's definitely a Sandlot movie. Now, the other thing I really liked was the look and the overall cinematography of this movie. I think they did a pretty good job and everything and made things look good. Like, they actually put the money into, like, making, like, the shots good and overall just filming it was fantastic. They did a great job, is what I'm trying to say. And that's a lot of the things I did really, really like. And I like some of the little twists here and there that they put in there that made it, like, different from the original. All right, now let's get into the stuff I didn't like. And this is where them digging into the original and taking some of that stuff is where I didn't really care for it as much. Because there's a lot of key scenes and iconic scenes from the original that was remade in this one, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's the same thing over again, and it brings nothing to the table, which I would have loved to have seen. And I see why this movie gets, on IMDb, it gets about a 4.5, I believe, out of 10, and that's about where it does, it's a good spot for it, because it's about a mid-level, like, type of film. It's not necessarily bad, it's not necessarily good, it's just kind of there, and it's not necessarily a bad movie to even watch if you want to check out the sequel to it. Because it's fairly entertaining, it's just a little bit too long. That's the only other thing I would say. Is the movie is about an hour and 42, 43 minutes, and it just feels a little too long for the type of movie that it is. Now, that does not mean it's a bad movie. Like I've said, this is not a bad movie. It's just mid-level. Now, the original, obviously, is a cult classic. It's a very, very much a favorite of mine and always will be. Even though I am not a sports person, I still love that movie for a lot of other reasons. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of like a review of the Sandlot 2. And if you're listening to this and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And take it easy, guys, and come back for the next one. All right, guys. Bye.